Hello, and welcome to Bible Questions TV, the show that tries to answer the really difficult questions about the Bible. If you have any questions of your own, you can go to our website, biblequestions.tv, and submit a question. We'll answer every question that comes in, and we'll even use some of them as topics for future episodes of Bible Questions TV. In this episode, we are going to look at what is often called the New Age. We're going to find out what it is, where it came from, and why it matters. We're going to watch about 25 minutes of the original 1.5-hour video. If you would like to see the entire video online for free, you can go to our website, biblequestions.tv. Let's take a look.
The New Age is a bit difficult to define because unlike most formal religions, it has no holy text, central organization, membership, formal clergy, geographic center, dogma, creed, etc. It's a network of believers and practitioners who share somewhat similar beliefs and practices. These beliefs can be added to whichever formal religion they follow, if any. In the last 10 years, the New Age has shifted out of the counterculture and into the mainstream of society. Today, its effects are felt in almost every aspect of life: medicine, politics, science, psychology, and even religion. A number of common beliefs are held by many, but not all, New Age followers. Individuals are encouraged to kind of shop for their beliefs and practices that they feel most comfortable with, kind of like a buffet line. Some of these common beliefs are things like personal transformation, the idea that mystical experience will lead to transformation. Methods to attaining that include things like hypnosis, meditation. Some believe that hallucinogenic drugs are useful to bring about and enhance this transformation. Believers hope to develop new potentials within themselves, the ability to heal oneself and others maybe, or psychic powers, new understandings of the workings of the universe, etc. Other common beliefs are divination and miscellaneous occult activity, really anything occult: astrology, tarot cards, runes, numerology, dream interpretation. I could go on and on and on. Channeling, which is allowing spirits to talk through you in order to get information. Channeling is actually really a foundational thing in the New Age, as we will see later. Pantheism. This is the idea that all that exists is God. And this leads really easily and naturally to the concept of the divinity or godhood of the individual or person. The idea that we are all gods. Reincarnation. This is the idea that after death we are reborn and live another life as a human, and the cycle repeats itself many times. Also, the human potential movement. It's the concept of cultivating extraordinary potential. Adherents believe that the net effect of individuals cultivating their potential will bring about positive social change at large. The idea of transcendental meditation, everybody getting together and thinking about a particular subject and it having some effect on society. UFOs. A huge percent of New Agers hold a completely unshakable belief in the reality of UFOs. Often that humanity was genetically engineered by UFOs, and that explains the origin of life. Again, all this is kind of like the buffet line of the New Age. Some New Agers believe only parts of this stuff. Some of them may not believe any of these things. But the New Age does have certain core beliefs. These would be beliefs that are really the glue that holds the otherwise chaotic differences of the buffet together. Also, many times people hold these beliefs that I'm about to name and don't even realize that they are core New Age beliefs. One of these core New Age beliefs is where the New Age gets its name from. The term New Age refers to the Aquarian Age, where it did originally, which, according to New Age followers, is just around the corner, and it's supposed to bring in peace and enlightenment and world unity. And really, those details aren't necessary for them to believe. It's not even necessary that they believe that it's a result of the Age of Aquarius. A lot of people believe that a New Age is coming as a result of, say, 2012, or that we're going to approach a photon belt, or all these ideas, and some of the things that they think will happen will differ too. But the concept that a New Age is just around the corner is very prevalent, and that's why I called it a core New Age belief. Another core belief is closely related and often associated with the idea of the Age of Aquarius, and that is the coming spiritual evolution of mankind. There are so many different versions of what this spiritual evolution will look like that it won't really do too much good to name them all. but just know that there is an idea that a physical evolution, like they will describe Darwinian evolution and have all kinds of graphs and things about that, and then they'll say to expect that type of evolution in a spiritual sense. And as I said, oftentimes this is associated with the coming age of Aquarius, or however they believe that's supposed to happen. Another core New Age belief is that man is inherently good, or even divine, or that he can be divine if certain conditions are met. A lot of emphasis is put on the potential for man to become like God, or to have godlike powers, or mind powers or something. Often that's tied to the previous idea of evolution, the idea that we are evolving into gods, and that's what we would call evolutionary godhood, and that it's the next step in evolution. Another fundamental thing taught is that the Bible cannot be trusted as is, and that biblical Christianity is one of, if not the biggest problem that the world must overcome in order to have this new utopia. Sometimes those in the New Age talk about Jesus and Christianity in a good light. They especially did this early on in the New Age. A lot of Christian vocabulary was used, but none of them would say that the Bible is inspired or that the Bible means what it says. In fact, even if they didn't claim that the Bible was corrupted, they might claim that you have to interpret the Bible in this special esoteric way in order to get what it truly means. And they have a lot of antagonism and even hatred for those people that do believe the traditional biblical view. And that antagonism is really always under the surface in the New Age. But in the New Age, as I like to call it, the one that has begun to form after 9/11, has really become more overt and openly antagonistic towards Christianity and Christians. Very little peace and love from them on that topic. World unity or a coming utopia is always a part of it. Early on, it was Atlantis. You still hear a bunch about the return of Atlantis or the new Atlantis. There's often an economic unity involved there, a world government sometimes even a single world leader, especially within theosophy. But it's also hoped for in theosophy that leader will unite the world into spiritual unity, that is a one-world religion. And this is one of the most talked about plans at the highest levels of those that promulgate the New Age, such as Alice Bailey. Also related to this is the term New World Order, a term which Alice Bailey used quite a lot to describe this utopia. She says that as the age of Aquarius unfolds, the New Age will develop, and that will be a utopia in which there is a world government, an end to wars, disease, hunger, pollution, poverty, and especially an end of all religions. Some form of Luciferianism. Usually this is hidden or allegorical or poetic, but it's always there. Some form of veneration of Lucifer and the characteristics that are associated with him, even if they don't believe in Lucifer. Most of the early New Age writers were open Luciferians, but nowadays this Luciferianism takes all kinds of different shapes. Usually they just reinterpret the Garden of Eden story in some symbolic way that makes the serpent in the story look good, yet they may have no belief whatsoever in God or Lucifer. For example, Michael Tsarian talks about the Garden of Eden story as if it is talking about genetic manipulation of aliens. Anyway, to make a long story short, Lucifer comes out the awesome, champion of the story, and God comes out the vindictive, evil God that was trying to keep them prisoner in the Garden of Eden. And I could go on and on about the way that Lucifer is venerated, whether it's in symbols or whatever. David Icke always talks about how the sun is going to change us in the future. Our godhood is going to come from the sun. It's just an obvious Luciferian reference there. But another one is secret knowledge. That is a really key component to the New Age. And it's the idea that if you know the right stuff, you read the right books, that there is power available for you. It's kind of this carrot on the string, and humans are just really, really vulnerable to this type of seduction, that there is a secret knowledge out there. I know when I got into the New Age, it was this idea that there was a secret knowledge that they knew about, and if I learned it, I could have all this power. That really got me on the road to all kinds of New Age and occultism and things like that. Okay, so in this talk, I'm going to be giving you a presentation essentially of my opinion on the purposes of the New Age movement from the satanic perspective. And I say it that way because the New Age movement has no headquarters. There is no agenda from the top in a physical sense. But I do believe that there is an agenda, and in fact a very methodical agenda, but it is one from a spiritual perspective. And it is essentially enforced and maintained by spiritual beings, kind of a hierarchy or a type of military system that does in fact go to the top. And that's what I would say the eye of the pyramid is in fact Satan himself. So what is the agenda from that perspective? Short term, it's to get well-meaning people to open doors of demonic influence in their lives by practicing the occult. I've got a video out there called Demystifying the Occult, where I talk about why practicing the occult opens you up to demonic influence and things like that. So the short term, the New Age is getting people to embrace the occult. Long term, it's to prepare the world politically, psychologically, and spiritually for the Antichrist and his attempt to cause the world to worship him. Now, this not only includes preparing minds and acclimating them to the spiritual prerequisites, but also a physical building up of the control grid, the system, the New World Order of control that will be able to terminate, to kill those that refuse to worship him. And this is why people seem to notice a very well-planned agenda behind what seems to be a totally unconnected movement. There is a plan in the spiritual dimension, and it is a plan that has been around for a long time. Some key points to be aware of as we progress is, first, that the New Age is sold to the public using pseudoscience. What that means is that it uses supposed facts and figures and charts and graphs and phrases like "scientists now know" to get people to think that the New Age beliefs are grounded in fact. And the interesting and kind of funny thing is that they rarely agree on what those facts are. For instance, let's take one of the most basic ideas in the New Age, the idea that a New Age is in fact coming. That idea is taught to people using many types of methods, using sometimes mutually exclusive ideas. One might believe that the New Age is coming, for example, as a result of the galaxy's position in relation to the sun. Or another person might believe that it's because the solar system's position in relation to the so-called photon belt. Totally exclusive ideas. Another third exclusive idea that's commonly believed is that it's about the sun's position in relation to certain constellations, or astrology, as we mentioned earlier. Another person might believe a combination of those with 2012, or none of them at all, completely different one. It really doesn't matter how that they were sold the idea. What matters is that they believe that a New Age is coming. New Age beliefs are tailored towards the individual. There is a form of New Age out there for every type of personality. If you, for instance, have a Christian background, there is a form that speaks really highly of Christ, and you might, for instance, find Eckhart Tolle to be useful. Now, if you hate Christians, there's plenty of other directions that you would be geared for. If you believe in UFOs or could believe in UFOs, there's tons of New Age versions for you. If you are absolutely adamant that UFOs don't exist, that's fine. There's tons of New Age authors and teachers just for you, too. And the next key point kind of goes along with that. Even if you don't want to be called New Age or wouldn't associate yourself with a New Age belief, that's okay, because most of the people today that believe New Age principles don't call themselves New Agers or wouldn't associate with the term. In fact, two of the biggest teachers of the New Age alive today are very outspoken against the New Age. Yet, just a simple examination of their beliefs show that they are about as New Age as anyone could ever get. Kind of related to that is there's a huge move in corporate America. Lots of Fortune 500 companies actually teach New Age principles and workshops and things like that, but they don't use a lot of the buzzwords that are commonly associated with the New Age. And finally, on the key points, much truth. That's the whole idea. A lot of truth has to be used for this to be relevant. That's the reason it's been so tied to the movement of knowledge on the internet the last 10 or so years. People have been learning good facts from these people, really important things about politics or science or medical stuff or food poison stuff. All these types of things are part of the truth. That's the hook. The health food industry, really the organic food industry, really was born out of true things. Monsanto and DDT back in the 70s or whatever. When people found out about that stuff, they wanted to eat organic. All that stuff was true. Everybody looked at them like they were crazy. But they were taught the pesticide kind of stuff as a means of drawing them into all the other stuff. Oh, didn't you know all the pesticide stuff is true? Now let me also tell you about the age of Aquarius or whatever. It's the same principle today. A few numbers here. A 2009 study was done on 4,000 Americans. Basically, to go through this really quickly, 25% of them believed in reincarnation. Among Christians, the number drops only slightly to 22%. 65% of people in this study expressed belief in at least one of these New Age ideas, and 43% of young adults believed in some type of astrology. So let's look at the origins of the New Age movement. In one sense, this all began in the Garden of Eden. Genesis 3, verses 4 and 5 says, "And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil." So if we break this down a little bit, we're going to see all these elements of the core New Age beliefs. First, this "ye shall not surely die." So Satan is saying here, he's discrediting the Word of God. Did God say that? Well, why don't you reconsider whether or not he really did mean that? So one of the core New Age beliefs, a discrediting of the Word of God, is certainly here in this. And of course, they did surely die. They didn't die right then. It's kind of, again, sort of this idea of playing a little bit of truth to his advantage. Another part of that is God doth know. So what he's essentially saying is here, God knows that when you eat it, your eyes are going to be open. He's casting God as the bad guy, Satan is here. He's reversing the roles. And this is, we see this in the New Age with the Luciferianism. Again, trading the roles, making Lucifer the good guy and God the bad guy. Another part of this, he says, your eyes shall be opened. So there is a promised enlightenment, a potential coming enlightenment is coming. Another one is, ye shall be as gods. So there is an offer of an evolution from what they were to godhood, in a sense. And what does he say that will be manifested by? By knowing. So he was claiming that there was a knowledge that they could attain to if they would do that, almost a secret knowledge. So again, we have a core belief there. So in a sense, the New Age is not new at all. So occultism in the old world, in a broad sense, is a picture of the New Age, but really this started to develop in earnest after the time of Christ. In the 2nd century, Irenaeus wrote Against Heresies. He cataloged the beliefs and history of the Gnostics. The Gnostics really offered a hybrid Christianity, offering a lot of occult themes with Christian vocabulary and backgrounds and things. And that idea sort of stayed with the Gnostics for some time, but the idea of incorporating biblical vocabulary is really at the roots of the modern New Age movement. In the 1700s, the Christian mystics like Emanuel Swedenborg arrived, and that's basically occultism with Christian vocabulary, as I said. And all that culminated in the writings of Helena Blavatsky and the Theosophical Society, and then there was a whole lot of stuff that followed that, which basically used their themes and developed them. But where Satan's plan for the Antichrist starts to really become a bit more noticeable is with the writings of two main people, Helena Blavatsky and Alice Bailey. Let's talk briefly about Blavatsky first. She was born in 1848. In 1875, she formed the organization called the Theosophical Society. She founded the society with two men, Colonel Henry Steele Olcott and William Quan Judge. Blavatsky's influence came mostly from her writings. Her first book was entitled Isis Unveiled, published in 1877. She started a magazine called Lucifer Magazine. Her principal work, The Secret Doctrine, was published in 1888, and contained in those writings are the doctrines that helped really form the New Age movement to what it is today. It is said that part of Blavatsky's book, The Secret Doctrine, was channeled to her through a, quote, ascended master or, quote, highly evolved being called Kuthumi. This being apparently spoke through her, and belief in these ascended masters who communicate with humanity is very crucial when studying and trying to understand the New Age. As we will see, the New Age doctrine was entirely given to us by spiritual beings. which I would argue are biblical demons, and do put forward that argumentation in my video, David Icke Debunked. Then in 1880, Alice Bailey was born. She really emphasized the need for humanity to make a one-world government and a one-world religion for this theosophical Age of Aquarius idea. Alice Bailey formed the Lucifer Publishing Company in 1920. In 1922, she changed the name to Lucis Trust. Lucis Trust basically promoted the work of one of these, quote, ascended masters, who called himself Dejois Cool, who was working through Alice Bailey for some 30 years. This demonic force wrote volumes of material through Bailey, and those writings serve as the basis for all New Age thought. I mean, I almost can't be more emphatic about that. Almost every tiny little New Age concept can probably be tracked back to something in her extensive writings. But her writings are very cryptic, and they almost need a dictionary of terms in order to understand what she means by certain things. And almost no New Ager reads her work. What has happened is that the New Age gurus spend the time reading her work, and then they teach the concepts that she teaches to their followers, filtered through their own personal beliefs and eliminating all the references to New World Order and the World Teacher and all this stuff. Again, the New Ager does not need to know where this stuff comes from. They just need to believe the basic principles. Quoting Terry Melanson here, it says, Lucis Trust is a powerful institution that enjoys consultative status with the United Nations, which permits it to have a close working relationship with the United Nations, including a seat on the weekly sessions, but most importantly, influence with powerful business and national leaders throughout the world. Through its founding of World Goodwill, Lucis Trust is, quote, aggressively involved in promoting globalist ideology. Here's a quick quote to illustrate just one aspect of her position regarding the coming world government and the control that it needed. She said, in the preparatory period for the New World Order, there will be a steady and regulated disarmament. It will not be optional. No nation will be permitted to produce or organize equipment for destructive purposes or to infringe the security of any other nation. Bailey was always referencing something called, quote, the plan. This not only called for steps to begin to influence world government, but it also included a plan to spread the ideas of the Luciferian New Age in preparation for a man that they sometimes called the World Teacher. This plan was admittedly to prepare the human thoughts to accept this new world order and new world ruler when he finally comes. One quote from her regarding this says, this must form the theme of all the propaganda work to be done during the next few decades, until the year 2025. A brief space of time indeed to produce fundamental changes in human thought, awareness, and direction, but at the same time a quite possible achievement, provided the new group of world servers and the men and women of goodwill perform a conscientious task. So we'll talk about this group later on, but what she's wanting them to do is to produce propaganda to essentially change human thought and awareness and direction in preparation for her new world order, in preparation for the world teacher. Another quote says, the day is dawning when all the religions will be regarded as emanating from one great spiritual source. All will be seen as unitedly providing the one root out of which the universal world religion will inevitably emerge. Then there will be neither Christian nor heathen, neither Jew nor Gentile, but simply one great body of believers gathered out of all the current religions. So you can see that she intends to produce propaganda to get the world to think the way that she wants them to think. I want to point out, by showing the Luciferian roots of theosophy, that it is their intense veneration of Satan and Lucifer and their hatred of God that I think makes it not all that unlikely that they could be used to promote this very important satanic aspect that is preparation for the Antichrist, because they were so given over to it. Helena Blavatsky writes that it is but natural to view Satan, the serpent of Genesis, as the real creator and benefactor, the father of spiritual mankind. She has a lot of quotes like this, but I'll just read a few of them. She also writes that Lucifer is the Logos in the highest. She writes that Satan is the God of our planet and the only God. She sums up on page 513 of The Secret Doctrine by writing, Lucifer is divine and terrestrial light, the Holy Ghost and Satan, and that he is also our tempter, redeemer, our intelligent liberator and savior. And it's not just her. Plenty of theosophists wrote these types of quotes. I have pages and pages of other theosophists like Alexander Fussell and N.C. Ram from publications like Lucifer Theosophical Magazine, just lavishing praise for Lucifer or Satan. If you're a new Christian or somebody that's just interested in learning more about Christianity, I want to send you a free copy of something that I've been calling the Christianity 101 DVDs, which you can get free at our website, BibleQuestions.tv. Basically, it's a data DVD. What that means is that it works like a flash drive. You pop it into your computer, you open it up, and you see all these files. I've put MP3s, movies, ebooks, audiobooks, just all kinds of stuff. In fact, 4 gigs of material that I think will really help you grow. It's totally free. There's literally no obligation. I do this because Jesus said in the Great Commission to make disciples of all men. So you can go to our website, BibleQuestions.tv, click on the Christianity 101 banner, and tell me where to send it. And it doesn't matter what country you live in, I'll ship it to you for free wherever you are. So there's 2 ways to order one. You can first go to the website, BibleQuestions.tv, and click the banner, or you can physically write me at Chris White Ministries, P.O. Box 110984, Nashville, Tennessee 37211. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching Bible Questions TV. If you want to see more about the video we were just watching, you can go to our website, BibleQuestions.tv. While you're there, you can order a free copy of the Christianity 101 DVD, or you can write to us at the address on your screen. Thanks to Chris White, Adam Larson, and NECAT Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Samuel H. Bolton, and we'll see you next time.